Welcome to another edition of the Vicktory Life Legacy Spotlight. I have one of my favorite players of all time, and I stress all time, a young friend of mine who I grew up with, his family, Marseilles Brown, one of the best to ever do it, one of the best I've ever seen play the game of basketball, has one of the highest basketball IQs that I've ever encountered, and more importantly, he's a leader and now a teacher of the game. Marseilles Brown, welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir, man. I'm excited about this interview, man, because I know a lot of people check for your knowledge. But more importantly, you've impacted a lot of young men since your playing days was over. I interviewed the Abrahams, the Abraham family, a few weeks ago. You know, your teammate, my teammate from my AU days of playing Bull Williams, Nsilo Abraham, his older brother Fazil Abraham, and their sister Taj Abraham. And they were the first family I had on the Legacy Spotlight. But you as well come from a very, very athletic and knowledgeable family, and a very well-known family in the Hampton Roads area, really throughout VA, the Brown family. You, Milan, Morocco, you guys all were huge athletes and did it at a high level. So let's talk a little bit about, you know, what exactly, how you got to that point as far as, you know, growing up and your brother's influences on you, and really how they help you get to a place where you got interested in sports.
All right, my fault. I was getting calls. I should have
That's
turned
okay.
it over.
It's okay.
But you said talk about what now?
Your brothers, man, just growing up. Yeah.
Yeah, just growing up. It was just normal to us. Like, I'm the last one out of the litter, so they're already heavily involved. Milan's 7 years older than I am. Rock's 2 years older than I am. So I just follow suit. We all played football, baseball, basketball. So Phoebus Little League baseball, football at Gosnells, and basketball with I play with Northampton, Aberdeen. You know, it's in AAU. So I mean, when you come up going to games all the time and having the goal in the backyard, that's just what we did. It's just always what we did. So I say I just got started watching Milan, wanting to be like Milan. So did Rock too. And then wanting to be like Milan's friends or Milan's rivals, you know, watching the game, Kevin Swan, you know, Marcus Michael, them guys, Steve Artis and them. So we were like, yeah, you know, I want to be like that. That's all. Just coming up watching them.
You played with a certain swagger. I remember competing against your brother Morocco. We're the same age, same year in football and basketball. And Morocco was a dog. But the thing I always admired about Morocco was he had a meticulous approach to the game. Very, very intelligent, which is why he's doing so well in the professional ranks now in the NFL. But, you know, on the football field, he was very versatile. He could play different positions. On the court, he was the same way. He could play different positions on the court. You came along very different from Milan and Morocco. You came on the scene. I remember seeing you as a youngin'. You came on very, very outspoken, brash, not disrespectful, but you played with a certain swagger. Where did that come from?
I don't know, man. I think I got it from my father. So my dad was like that. And I always want to be like my dad, man. But I mean, I wasn't doing it to be like my dad. I was just excited. And I don't know. I got into a little bit more trouble than they did in school, elementary school and stuff like that. So it was even before like organized hoop, it was still there. You know what I mean? So I can't tell you where it come from other than my father. All of us have a streak in us. You know, I think everybody has it, but I'm just saying that streak like my father had that. I don't want to call it a mean streak, but just my dad used to call it woofing. Woofing. We woof a little bit. You know what I mean? Like talk a little bit.
Yeah.
And, you know, coming up, being so little and stuff, everybody used to sleep on me a lot. I felt like it, at least. In my head, this is what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Guarded me full court because he think he can get the ball from me. That's disrespectful. I can't believe he disrespected me like that. So now I'm going to turn him 7 times before we hit half court. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how I used to think about it. That's all.
Yeah, you know what's crazy too. When I reflect on you, playing at Kecoughtan, even in the rec leagues and AAU, I remember you would talk, but when someone talked to you, you would smile at them, and
Yeah.
you would give them work. See, that's the thing. You would smile at them and be like, okay, and you would give them work. When I interviewed Tony and Damon, and I talked to Taj and Fazil and other guys from my area, I've said then on those interviews, I've said even on radio interviews I've done, articles I've done, the time we played was the golden era for Tidewater sports on the peninsula and the south side, especially for the peninsula. I say from the mid 80s to the early 2000s, the game of basketball, football, track, the primary heavy hitter sports, even baseball, I don't think you will ever see the crowds and the turnout and the atmosphere and the level of play where games are moved to arenas and coliseums. Yet what is not talked about enough are the men and women behind that. You had your Bakos, you had your Boo Williams, you had your Conrads and Kozlowskis and Browers, all the guys behind it. But there was also a man in your father who I remember to this day, and I'm grown. I remember, and I was a football player playing basketball, but it didn't matter because when you walked around the gym, if you were walking around Gosden Hope Park, Jeff Davis Middle School, where a lot of the rec games were played, your dad would be by the concession stands. He'd be out by the porta potties. It didn't matter. He'd pull you to the side and would coach you on your game and your attitude and give you jewels and talk to you about your mindset. What do you recall about your dad's influence with you and your brothers and the guys you competed with and against? Did you see the same thing that I witnessed, or you just even get
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. My dad just called. He didn't have anything fake in him. So, and he wanted to help people. He wanted mainly kids. He loves helping people. So, if he saw you, he told you what he thought. You know, whether it was, now he would try to build you back up. He'd let you know where he's coming from, but it might be brash, but it's going to be 100% honest. And that's why so many killers respected him. Flat out killers respected him, you know, on the field and court and stuff. Well, all of them, to be honest. Street, whatever it is, because he told you the truth. But yeah, I would see it when I was younger. I didn't really make a note of it, but I just was like, he knows everybody. And I could tell a lot of people respected him. And then I could tell people were scared of him too.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
No, that's the truth. Not speak freely.
Everybody was scared of him. But that I'm just recalling when I was younger, you know, I'm answering the question, like, people gravitated to him, man. And they always laughed at him and they always would listen. Whether it was Bubba or it didn't matter who it was, man.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. So that's just who he was.
No doubt, man. And I was blessed by every interaction I had with him, man. Like I said, I remember all the people I mentioned behind the scenes that helped elevate us as young men to go out there and create our own legacies. And speaking of legacy, man, you came on the scene after a legacy and the groundwork was laid for you by Milan and Morocco. 2 outstanding men, great student athletes, prominent members of their community. You come from a great family, but when you stepped on the court, you had a chip on your shoulder, as we mentioned earlier. There was a video. I follow everything you do, man, because we'll talk about it later about all the stuff you do in training young men now. There was a video you shared, and I showed it to my son. I showed it to friends in my group chat, where I never knew it because I was at the game. We didn't play that night, but we came when Bethel was playing Kecoughtan. That was a big game because you guys were right there at the top of the district, and it was a battle for, you know, top 2-3 place in the district right there with Hampton. And you talk about how you came in the game and your heart was beating a mile a minute. You were playing against Iverson. We call him Chuck. And you talked about how you hit a runner on him. And then he looked at you and smiled. And then he began to come at you. Talk about that moment. And was that the moment when the light bulb went off for you as a player, or was that the life lesson you needed to see?
I'll say this, because we played together. We played against and with Chuck outdoors all the time, like at Jeff Davis or Langley or wherever. So I'd already played with him. But I'll tell you, this is what playing with Chuck did for me. It made me not fear another player. Like, as far as a guard. I mean, I was like, a lot of people are good, but if you can play with him, man, we had to see Jamal Tinsley one year. He's not Chuck. They're not Chuck. We're best backcourt in the country. They're not Chuck. So I got a chance, is all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as that game, that was my 9th grade year. We were pretty good. We weren't at the top of the district that year. That was sophomore and junior year when we were at the top. But I just remember being down 20. I started out that season as on JV. And then I think somebody fell off the team or left the team for whatever reason. And I got pulled up. And we were down 20 when I got in, man. I swear it couldn't have been 5 minutes into the game. They just pressed and trapped and dumped. And it was live in there.
Yes, it was.
As all, you know how the games used to be. And Tony and Chuck and Dante and Kelly just running, and I'm afraid, but I knew, like, as soon as I got in, I beat the press. And you don't play for the crowd, but you can't help but hear this large roar. Because remember, they're stealing the ball every single time we throw it in. And they're dunking and laying it up and dunking and celebrating. I get in. I beat the whole press. I just dribbled, ran real fast, handled the ball, lost a couple people. And then I double dribbled at the end. I messed it up. But from that moment on, I was like, oh, okay. All right. Like, they're not going to get this ball from me. Like, that's all I was thinking. They're not going to get the ball from me. I mean, they might steal it when I throw it, but just don't let them take it from me. It wasn't so much pressure, but that did, I say it definitely gives you confidence when you survive going up. Bethel's team was ridiculous, man. Tony was really freaking good too, bro.
Yes, people don't talk about it. I know.
As you know. But it wasn't just Bubba. It was Bubba and Tony.
Yes.
And they were trying to steal the ball from me, bro, and get dunks. They didn't care. They knew me, and I was Rock's little brother. I remember, man, they were trying hard. All they wanted to do was get dunks.
Yeah.
So it wasn't no gimme. And in the first defensive possession, Chuck comes down laughing at me. Like, like that. Another move, pull up, bucket. Right after I turned the ball over, right after that first play. And then I fouled him 3 times in a row. They took me out. I had 3 fouls.
Hey, but that we all have that moment. And, but because you train now and you have a son that plays, we'll get to that later. But I do want to touch on this. And I've talked to a lot of people that play different sports, even off air when I'm just talking to guys at the gym, young ladies, coaches. I'm always looking for knowledge. You train people now, but when you look at your childhood, we didn't have Models and Dick's Sporting Goods and YouTube, and we didn't have these sessions where you can go and camps that the invite only. It was just a whole different atmosphere.
Right.
Yet you had handle and your basketball IQ. We talked about your father's influence. How did you work on your game and prepare? Because when you came on the scene and once that light bulb went off, you became one of the best players in the state and one of the best players up and down the East Coast. But that just didn't happen by accident. What did you do to prepare? Because Tony and Damon talked about getting up early at 5 in the morning and grinding.
Yeah.
What was your regimen?
Man, I never forget. Well, was a couple of summers. I never forget though, man. Milan just asked me, "You want to start working out more consistently?" Yes. He got a piece of paper. He drew from 6:30 in the morning and went to the night. I forgot what time it was. I wish I would have saved it. And we plotted out every day what I was going to do. Every hour, 6:30, we're going to get up. We're going to go shoot or run. Some days it would be run. But it was shooting, it was running, and it was lifting. And it was playing. Like, I didn't realize it then. I had a college or a pro regimen. So I did it every day, bro. Or, 5 days a week, maybe 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I just could feel myself getting better. I could see myself getting better. I'm missing less. I'm quicker. Guys are looking at me different when we go play. They were just looking at me like I got him. Now they looking at me like, man, get him. So, and I'm talking like freshman to senior year, freshman to senior. Obviously, as you get older, you get more minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You get more confidence. You get more shots. But the workouts, yeah, it was lifting. It started at 6:30, man. It ended about 4. But it wasn't all working out. It was go play the video game. But everything was written out. And that's one of the biggest mistakes I ever made in my career. Is Milan asked me to come with him one summer when he was coaching at Mount St. Mary's. I was at Richmond. He said, "You want to come up here and work out for the summer?" Good, I'll stay here. That's simple. Stuff like that right there can mess you up beyond measure. It can put you behind, Yes, and I started, you know what I'm saying? But you think, what could have happened if you went? So, but yeah, Milan did it, man. And Brett was in there with us too. Just an organized regiment, lifting. I made about 200 shots a day at game speed. So, and making all the moves and all that stuff, going over whatever Milan taught me, watching Tim Hardaway, Isaiah Thomas. And he just I was like a piece of Play-Doh with Milan because he saw myself in him, but he was like, hold on, he's faster than me and more athletic. So, we can do a little bit more. And then we would also play one-on-one because Milan was still good.
Yeah.
And I didn't beat him. I beat him in high school. I don't remember what grade, but I started beating him. Yep.
What are guards? I know around our way in that region, you had Iverson and Mike Epps and Damon, guys at Lake Taylor. It was talent everywhere. But you mentioned Isaiah Thomas and Tim Hardaway. I always like to ask people, even kids, even 14, 15, 16-year-olds, like I'm always intrigued to see who you watching. Is it Jason Tatum? Is it Kobe? For you, right. Back then we had VCR tapes, so we had to, record it live or watch it live. But like when you had time, who were you checking for? Were there guards or players that influenced you and you studied their moves? Who were those guys for you?
The guys I watched, Isaiah Thomas was my idol first. Tim Hardaway. I just tried to emulate everything. Man, his cross was so quick. Damon Stoudemire when he was at Arizona. Oh my goodness. I say those 3, man. I'm trying to think. Obviously Chuck and Tony, if you want to keep it local.
No, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, Michael Evans. That's never mind.
No. You could go ahead.
That's the GOAT, bro. Yeah. That's the best I've ever seen, man.
Yeah, man. It's funny because you talk about decisions.
Chuck's the best player.
No. You don't have to clarify.
Michael Evans,
I know what you mean. Listen.
Yeah.
You mentioned decisions, not going Milan. That's the one thing about the legacy spotlights. When I talk to Shonda Bailey, a lot of people, man, I'm sharing these stories with people because a decision can be so effective, as far as positively or negative, or it could be a life lesson you learn later and you reflect on. you talk about Michael Evans, and this is before the internet and everything like that. If he goes to a different school, if things work out differently, you still have Iverson, but you also have Mike Evans. It's almost, without the tragedy, very similar to what happened with Len Bias.
Yes. He was league. He was 100% league.
I know I remember he came to Open Gym in Hampton, and I remember I pulled up. I thought it was a concert. This at Hampton High Open Gym. And I go in and I see Damon, Tony, Chuck's on the court, and Michael Evans. The guys from Norfolk came across. That's how serious hooping was.
Yes.
And you know what? What's crazy is those guys all had offers and interests, and they were out there hooping like it was money on the line.
Yes.
And Michael Evans, I saw then, I was like, yo, this guy, he's just a naturally gifted player.
I can't believe how good he could dribble and pass that ball, bro.
Yeah.
There's no state. I played against him in the Pro-Am, like my senior year of high school, freshman year of college, but it wasn't the same. Like when Rock and them were playing him, so that's what, 92-ish?
Yeah, 90, yeah.
90, it might have been her. Yeah, Rock graduated in
94. He graduated my year, 94.
So it was with Faisal and them.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe it, bro.
Yeah.
He was turning them in complete circles. Before people were turning people in complete circles.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It goes this big. Like, it's heavy traffic in there doing that stuff. And just dropping it off. Beautiful game, man. And he was sneaky athletic, too. He will dunk it on him.
Yeah. Special player, man. Very special player. But speaking of that, you talk about them being special. One conversation I had with Tony and Damon, and I mentioned that Tony and Damon, for my time in that golden era I mentioned in Hampton Roads in the Tidewater area, they were, arguably the best point guard duo or backcourt, in the history.
No, they were. It ain't arguably.
Yeah. But behind them, or arguments came on when you and Brett stepped on the scene.
Hey, Brett slept on, man.
Yeah. Because when you
Brett could score the ball better than everybody. Like, not damn near everybody. What could he do? Score. I know he had bounce and all that. He could score, bro. But like, he was like, in a sense, like one of those high percentage guys. Like me, I might go 8 for 26. Brett's gonna go just like Damon. They're gonna go 50% and up every game. They don't really take bad shots. They like that mid range. Brett had everything, bro.
When you talk about that, like when you reflect on you and Brett, because I know Brett, his dad and my dad are good friends, and Brett, Jonathan Baker, Nsilo, we won one of Boo's younger teams a couple of years, and I knew Brett can go. I played against Brett. Take it back to I was at Eaton Middle School, and him and Tyrone Tynes and some other guys, Pat Welch was on the Fox Hill team.
Fox Hill, that's who you played with.
We've lost in the championship to Brett, and I saw Brett then. And I said, man, and we little kids, and he was killing it. And fast forward to you and him at Kecoughtan, did you guys know, was it a perfect storm when y'all came together and y'all made that run to states? Did y'all know when y'all got to Kecoughtan, oh, yo, bro, like low key, we can make a run and change the game here?
Yeah, we definitely, that was the goal the whole time. And we had Milan coaching us, with Coach Conrad. Milan was an assistant. Ray Washington used to help out some, who played point at St. Joe's. I mean, when the A-10 was real, not that, anyway, whatever. Back in the day with Temple and them, it was different.
No, it was. It
was different. Yeah. But
UMass.
Yeah. But we knew we had good players because we came close our sophomore year. My sophomore, Brett's junior. And we've been playing together. Brett been walking to my house. I've been walking to his house since elementary school, playing together. Throwing them lobs on logos. Our chemistry, we've been had chemistry like on that court. I already know what we're gonna do is look at him funny, and that's it. And same with him and me. But of course, man, we wanted to win state. I'm sure everybody wanted to win it. And we had depending on which team, sophomore year or junior, we had Spider, we had Nas. I mean, Nas was rookie of the year at Loyola, man.
I know.
Like Nas was a monster, bro. So It was it was crazy. Spider was good too, man. Jermaine McLeese, solid dunk on you.
Y'all had a squad. And you know what I remember when I came back, because Brett, when I came back and saw you and Brett play and Nas and all, it was even though Hampton and Kecoughtan were rivals, you still love each other because you see the journey, you see the come up. And more importantly, as far as a basketball fan, yo, y'all, and I'm just being honest, this is my podcast and I keep it 100 on here. Watching y'all play, y'all took what Tony and Chuck did with the oops and the lobs and all that stuff that Jermaine Golson and all them the OGs were doing. Y'all took it to another level because I seen you come down like AI to Iguodala. You were doing the throwing up, and Brett was catching it, banging it backwards, doing 360s in high school.
Yeah, bouncing lobs.
Yeah, the energy was crazy. And what I found amazing is when I watched Morocco and that team when they had Tony Jordan, Macy.
Oh, that's
in
the history of the PD. But go ahead.
But hold on. But that team, Coach Conrad adjusted because if you watch the old games, Morocco and Macy and all them, they were physical. They dump it down, kick it back out. They were patient. Then I come back home on a bye week. I don't even go check out Marseille and them playing. I come in the gym, everybody standing up like we at above the rim. And Bird is coaching. Pocket, y'all throwing the ball up, catching off the rim, throwing off the glass.
Yeah, man. Coach Conrad let us play.
He let y'all play, which is a true a show of class for him to allow his players, the same way John Thompson did when Chuck got to Georgetown. He adjusted his personnel and his playing style and coaching style to allow you guys to shine. And it worked out well for y'all.
Yeah, it did. It did, man. He definitely let us play and let us work through mistakes, things like all of us. It's just, I wish he was here now, man. Coach, just give shirt off his back. And another, like my father, straight up, this is how it is. I'm going to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Another guy like.
What do you remember about that time, man? Like, you know, just being at Kecoughtan, the games, the atmosphere, the PD, then getting out of the Eastern region, were there games that you circled, you know, on your phone? You can't have phones back then, your calendar. Like, what was it like, oh, we got Hampton? Was it Phoebus? Was it Ferguson? Was it across the water? What do you remember about that whole atmosphere? Like when you say, yo, them were the days, I remember this.
The biggest moments, I mean, obviously the district championship, and the state championships. But for me, it was, and a lot of people say the Christmas tournament, man. Fort Eustis, because I remember going and watching Tony Jordan, Faisal, Damon, Tony, and being like, I want to do that, boy. I want to do it there. It's packed. Everybody's standing. They're out here just putting on a show. So I say for me, you got to get off at the Christmas tournament, man. You got to be ready. Because I know everybody from the PD was ready because teams were coming from everywhere.
Yes. Yeah, Richmond, North Carolina, Northern Virginia, it was packed.
Yeah. And so I'd say that Christmas tournament, yes. And it depends on the year, what team. So if I go my sophomore year, it was always Ferguson. Well, not my senior year, but Ferguson, my sophomore and junior year, it was Ferguson mainly. And Hampton, was Hampton in the hunt?
Yeah, back then, yeah, they were. Yeah.
Because Damon was gone. Wait.
They had Chris Fox and Tabian and.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember who came in. Like, I don't know, but everybody, it was a matchup, man. All the Newport News schools play so hard, man. You talking about Kecoughtan and Ben Moore and them, like. Then you know it's going to be physical. You know they're going to guard. You know they're going to try to get after you. You know, then you come back to Hampton. You got Bethel. You got Michael Foster and them. You got people who can give you 30, man. So, but I say the main ones were Ferguson, like my sophomore and junior, because that's who we split the title with. And then Hampton, y'all, you know. That my junior year, Minch still in there?
Listen.
I can't remember, bro.
No. What you doing?
One my senior year.
But you know what? That's the thing. That's why I say that was
They,
the golden era, because whether it was football and basketball, and I even throw in baseball and track, it was no night offs in the PD, because even a bottom dwelling team or a team lower at 6 or 7 could give you work.
Yeah.
And every team in the district had talent. And then when you went across the water to get out to get to states, you had the Maury's, the Booker T's, the Lake Taylors, the Deep Creeks. It was no, oh yeah, we got it because we won the PD. Your reward for winning it was playing a team from the South Side.
When you go to Churchland, I was gonna say that's the next one.
Yep.
That's a different ball game.
Yeah. And Churchland was
over there and gotta play different ball game.
Churchland was the Mecca. It was the Mecca.
It was a massive gym, and they were one of the best teams in the country. Mm-hmm. Well, Churchland themselves, but the games were played there. You know, Indian River, they had Jason and Morrison and them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they had dude jump out the air. The boy played the pro football, looked like David Macklin.
Not Sean Foreman.
No. Free safety. Played at Penn State, didn't he?
Oh, Boyd.
Jumped all over everywhere. Looking like Boyd. And the other one that could fly, the dark skin one, who played wide receiver.
You really hit my memory right now. I should have got my notes.
Oh, I can't believe he could fly. But they were like 10 deep though. It was that ain't it. Terry Rouse, they had so many people.
Yeah, and you know what?
The South Side in general had killers.
Well, the South Side were at that time, we were on the come up, and that's why I said that was the golden era, because basketball was always their thing. And then we started to, with the emerging of Boo Williams teams and the circuit, AU circuit, all you guys doing that, it became a situation where not a whole region is on point.
Right.
Before I talk about your college recruitment, I was talking to my guy, Rodney Berry.
My guys, his kids.
And me and him were talking, you know, we were talking about Vicktory Life and AAU, and he was talking about getting you down there when the COVID is over to get you to train, because he was talking about the same sentiments I have. You are one of the best out here, and you keep it real, and you help develop. But we were talking about the journey he went on playing AAU, and I was talking about back then, people don't realize, man, Boo, he paid dues, he worked. But he talked about, he said, people don't even realize, man, the experiences he had. He was like, Marseille and all, they went to Paris.
Yes.
For Boo Williams. Let's talk about, because your brother, Morocco, when he first got with the Redskins, I had just moved up here in Northern Virginia. He would come by my apartment before I had kids, which is me and my wife. And we would laugh, and he would imitate Boo, talking about, I need my jerseys. And his stories, we talked about how we were just out here grinding, trying to find a place to play. And then you guys came on the scene, and because of what Alonzo Mourning and all the guys in the program did, and then, Fazel, Iverson, and Damon, and Tony, and Ace Custis, and those guys took it to another level. When you guys came on, Boo Williams AU Circuit, his program was getting the notoriety, and you guys were able to travel not just around the way, but you got to Paris. What was that like playing for Boo and AAU at the time when there wasn't 100 AAU teams?
It was crazy. It's crazy if you look back at it now, but that's what AAU used to be, an all-star team. Like, you didn't try out, like, you tried out, but everybody didn't play it. So we don't, like you said, you gonna play for Boo, and that's it. Make the team. Or you're not playing, go play baseball or football. But what you're asking, what was Paris like, or just the whole Boo? Everything?
No, just Boo and Paris. Like, who'd you play with?
Yeah, Milan. I've known Boo a long time. I remember he come by the house, and my dad were real tight. And those Alonzo Mourning teams, I was at those games too, man. Brian Stiff. So I already had an influence. I'm just backtracking to shout out the OGs, the real OGs, where I really got my influence. Milan, Kevin Swan, and all of them. Alonzo. We used to fake like we were Alonzo, man, on the Nerf goal in Milan's room, like me and Rock. So, but just playing for Boo in general. Remember, Boo wasn't the president of AAU back then.
No.
So it was different. Like, we knew Boo knew talent. We knew Boo wasn't gonna. Boo won't put you in the game. I sat plenty of games. Milan sat plenty. They had 10 people go Division I on that team.
Yeah.
But the starters, Terry Kirby with Milan's team, or Tutu, Cornell Parker, Terry Kirby, Brian Stiff, Alonzo Mourning, and I don't know who else it was, man. Some other.
No, it wasn't Kevin. No.
It was like Kendrick Warren or somebody like that. And then it was 5 more. It might have been 12 Division I scholarships. But we knew that Boo was it. We knew we had to bring our A game if we wanted to even make the team. Then if you want to get in, because Boo doesn't do no favoritism. Well, not in my experience. Because Boo was at our house, eating, hanging out, building his business, and Milan sat. I sat. So if anybody gonna get favoritism, it's us. We helping, my dad helped.
No doubt.
But my dad didn't ask him to do that or get no attitude. It's just how it was, man. You earn it or you don't. That's what I can get. That's what I got out of Boo's program. There are gonna be a bunch of good people there that you have to compete with. Nothing's guaranteed. And you're gonna have to play as hard as you possibly can, as good, as well as you possibly can. Or you ain't gonna survive.
It had to be a great experience, man, with all the people that you watched growing up, and then it's your time, and then you traveling all across the country. Like you said, when AAU, you had to try out, and it wasn't another team to go try out for.
Yeah, that was crazy. That team we went to Paris there were people from everywhere on that team.
Who was on that team? Who was? Rodney told me, it was amazing.
It was me, Ronald. And I sat behind Ronald. Ronald was 2 years younger than me. Boo don't care, bro. As I should have, even though I want to play in the country. Ronald, Jason Capel, Shane Battier, Jerron Rush, who's like number 2 in the country. He's Kareem Rush's brother. That played with the Lakers.
Yeah.
Dan Fife. Remember Dugan Fife played with the Fab Five?
Yes, Dugan Fife. Yeah.
Hodge Turner. Tariq Turner, remember him?
Yeah, listen. Of course.
Oh, so you know Hodge.
Yeah.
It was just, man, and it was more, man. It was Mike Williams. It was just, I just remember the practices were crazy. Like, I ain't never seen so many dunks until that moment right there. And not that dunks are everything, but when you're in high school and you see guys just not using steps to dunk, like we watching Chris Webber do that on TV. This dude's doing it every single play. But it was, and then George Raveling came, Coach Capel came. My dad went, man. It was just, and they weren't playing, bro. George Raveling were like, y'all gotta win, man. We ain't come over here to play around. They had us so geeked up, man, that they broke the rim in warm-ups, bro. One of them dudes did. One of the dudes on our team broke the rim.
That's crazy.
In warm-ups.
But look, let me ask you a side note, because I want to talk about your college career, because it was special in the way, the upset you were part of. But I want to ask you a side note question. I'm on social media like you, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I deal with so many people. I'm involved in sports in so many ways. And a lot of times I get asked because of the era you and I played in. And I find myself sometimes defending Ronald Curry's legacy because it didn't shape out in college the way people thought it was, because he was a National Gatorade Player of the Year in both sports. And I thought he still to this day is one of the best athletes I've ever seen. So good that when I interviewed my cousin Mike Vick, he said that team he had with Ahmad and all those guys in a run was special. But yet I find myself trying to explain to people, listen, do not underestimate how good he was in basketball. You were on that team, AAU, you went to Paris, and you a hooper, and you know the game of basketball. Briefly talk about how good Ronald was as a basketball player. I don't know.
National Player of the Year.
Yeah.
they brought the McDonald's game to Hampton, the dunk contest to Hampton High School. That's how good he was. So now I think he was better in football.
Yeah.
And I'm not a football guy. Like, I ain't gonna, people will start talking and y'all sitting there like, I play football. Like, you don't know. I think he was better in football. But on that court, he was fast. Man, ninth grade, he came out and gave me 29 with knee pads on, just finished playing football. So he was fast. He was strong. He played hard as hell. Super competitive. I mean, and he guarded too. So, and he was 6'3", wasn't he?
6'4". 6'4".
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So, like, he made plays, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, but it wasn't like he can't shoot. It wasn't like he can't shoot like that where you leave him. You know, I'm just thinking of terms of what people might say, you know.
Well, no, you're fine. I just asked you because, you know, we've never talked about that before. And I know, you know, it's amazing, like the folklore that's created now with the internet. And I'm so happy these young men get the exposure they do. But I think sometimes there's something about manufactured hype, or, you know, because I can put together something and show you killing somebody, you might miss what they did. And you mentioned some of the logistics and the small things, the intangibles that Ronald was involved in, playing on both ends, physical, rebounding, defending, being able to score. And he was versatile and a big guard. I think when you get to UNC, and here's the thing I've always said to people, whether you go to Hampton University or UNC or VCU or Norfolk State, to be in a situation to play on the collegiate level and still have success like he did in both sports cannot be dismissed. I mean,
no.
But you and I know that. I just wish some people, oh, he's a bust. He's
a bust?
Yeah.
How you gonna pick? What are you gonna pick? You're National Player of the Year in both. You playing with Allen Iverson. You're influenced, basketball-wise. Football, everybody's in your ear. You go to Carolina, you did both.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hindsight is 20/20.
Absolutely.
So what would you do though? Mm-hmm. You're gonna take that game you love, but that you might potentially get paid millions of dollars to play, and just say I ain't gonna play it no more? You gotta pick one. But he's like, I'm the best in both. How do I pick?
Exactly. I know.
I'm just thinking, getting inside what he must have been thinking, you know? Then you play football, and football lifting and basketball condition, they're totally different.
Very different.
Put on mass and muscle and stuff. I know that much. Y'all live different. When we go in there, the football players do more in 15 minutes than we do an hour. Ain't no rest with y'all. So I'm just saying, all that come into play. And he still caught didn't he catch 70 passes one year, in the league?
Oh no, he had a great with the Raiders, he had a great
He got hurt though, right? What did he get hurt at Carolina?
I cannot recall, but I do know that he had the biggest issue with him at Carolina was coaching changes. And that in college can shake a career quicker than anything. Man. It was coaching changing. He went there. At the time, I didn't fault him. Personally, I wanted him to go to UVA to face off against Mike because I thought that would have been epic. But he made the choice at UNC. And at that time, UNC had the great Mac Brown. They were putting guys in the league like crazy on the football field. And on the basketball court, they had Dean Smith.
How are you going – exactly.
And, but then, I think some things happen, and it happens, at the end of the day. And I don't know if it was Dean Smith, but I do know that UNC basketball was still prominent, and it's always good. I mean, even last year, injuries, different things, but for the most part, every year UNC was winning 20-plus games and going deep into the tournament. So I didn't fault him for that, and I think you make a very valuable point, is that people from afar have a lot of opinions, but at no time then, and even since then, have we seen a player of his caliber that's National Gatorade Player of the Year in both sports, ranked number 1 in both sports. As I often tell people, I told my guy E. Brown, he was LeBron hype before LeBron.
It was big, bro.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. You seen it happen, like, hold on, man. And and everybody in the city seen him since he was younger, so they're gonna be nitpick. And then the Chuck effect is real now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they're comparing him to a Hall of Famer. So, of course, some negativity gonna come out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
no, that's good. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts on that. So, you and Brett, y'all make a run in the state. y'all lose in the States, but you still had a great career. You know, you finished your senior year. At what point, whether it was your junior or senior year, what colleges are talking to you, and how do you end up going from you at Richmond and you there with Baker, correct? And then you end up going to Hampton University. And what?
Right.
But before you get to Hampton and Richmond, when do you start getting recruited? When are they calling you? How's it coming about?
I don't remember what grade I was in, but I remember my dad handed me a letter, and he's like, kind of smirking, like this.
The dad right there.
Yeah, look, you got your first letter. He was proud of me, but you know, in our house we didn't do that. Like you had to read something. So getting a letter, he gave me the smirk. Boy got his first letter, little smile, and I think it was William and Mary, Mason, or somebody like that. And I'd say maybe sophomore, junior year. But who recruited me? Richmond, obviously. JMU. I was going to go to JMU too. But Lefty signed somebody right before. I tried to wait a little bit out because Tony, Jordan, and Mason and them were there. I was like, I have to go there. I want to go there. But anyway, Richmond, Manhattan, Coach Fran Fraschilla, and JMU, what's that team? Oh, man. Coastal Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, little small schools, mid-majors, I guess, whatever you want to call them. Those were William and Mary. I couldn't get into William and Mary, though.
Uh-oh.
I couldn't get in. I think.
You talking about you couldn't get in? Oh yeah, William and Mary.
Yeah, my score.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's about it right there, man. I mean, I got letters from Vanderbilt, Clemson. That's not recruiting, though. I don't call. If you're not talking to a coach, they don't want you. In my eyes, I mean. Well, I know.
Right. Yeah, no, but you knew that. I knew that. I think that today's kids, you know, blessed to receive an offer. No, that's just interest. You know, it's not even a commendable offer. It's not even an offer sometimes. It's just kind of like saying we're not handling your shoulder, but you know.
Well, they're gonna back off right after they see that too, dummy.
Yeah.
Well, they're not. Oh, anyway.
So what made Richmond? Because you know, I remember. Because again, I'm around the same age. Tony, Macy. I remember them being at JMU, and people forget Macy Brooks was an animal.
Oh.
He went on to play with the Dallas Cowboys. Macy
got drafted to play pro baseball out of high school.
Yeah, Macy. Yeah, see, again, Macy Brooks was special. So there at JMU, Tony, one of my favorite athletes, Tony Jordan, like your brother.
So slept on.
Yes, played 3 sports, was phenomenal in all 3. And there at JMU doing their thing. When did you say, okay, I'm going to go to Richmond? When was that?
Well, it was coming. I knew I was going to sign early. My dad kind of urged me to, but they didn't tell me where to go. I wanted to play for Coach Fran. I liked him the best as a coach. But it was too far. I didn't want to go to Manhattan. And I knew I wanted to stay within, not too far, JMU, Richmond. And then once Lefty signed this other guard, it was easy from there. I was like, I'm not going to Coastal. I don't want to go. And it was like one more, I can't remember. Yeah, but I knew I wasn't going there, and it was easy from there.
Mm-hmm. And
because they stayed on me the hardest.
Yeah.
You know, they had a scholarship to give for that year, and they stayed on me. So I knew they really, really wanted me.
Mm-hmm. And
you got to go where they like you, man.
Yes, and again, that's a good lesson because some kids don't do that.
Yeah,
they go where they like.
Name.
Name.
No. No. Don't you want to play? I wanted to go to University of Virginia so bad.
Really, UVA?
Yeah, I mean, it's ACC. I'm watching Harold Dean and them guys. The ACC was crucial back then, too.
They were.
And Virginia, and I want to go to NC State, too. I was like, I'll go with my brother. He ain't want me, man. Yeah.
But you went to Richmond, and Jonathan Baker was there.
Yes, sir, my guy.
Yeah, you're my old teammate from high school. And you guys, were you on the team that when you're upset South Carolina?
Yes, sir.
So that's one of the biggest upsets in NCAA history.
Yeah, that was a 14-3.
Yeah. And what do you remember about playing with Jonathan Baker and playing at Richmond? Was it a wake-up call? Tony and Damon talk about Nsilo Abraham too, like getting to college, being ready to some degree, but it's college, a transition. And you get there, you with Jonathan. How was it for you? Did you hit the ground running, or was there a transitional period?
Yeah, I mean, you have to get adjusted to the weight program, the running, they're trying to kill you, and balancing class with social. That was the main adjustment. On the court, I was good. Like, I was good. I was not good, meaning I was comfortable. I came right in. I remember our first pickup game. I shot so much. I hit game point too.
Oh.
And I remember they were like, "Dang, you shoot a lot." I was jacked, man. But that's just how I came in, you know. And Jonathan, John, it was good. I know John since we were younger, since we were little, free throw contests and stuff. Milan played with Gannon, you know. So we obviously had our connection. We were tight. And I didn't. It was on the court. I didn't shoot as much, you know, as I did in high school. Nobody does, because I shot 30 times a game probably in high school. But I made plays, man. When I got the ball, I didn't play 40 minutes a game. I probably played 20-some. But I ended up getting Rookie of the Year. So, and I ended up starting like my last 10 games. But the adjustment was just physically. I remember lifting, man. Breaking my body down, man. Everybody laughing at me in the weight room. Look at it. You know, stuff like that. But when we got on that court, though, you know, that's where I did my fight.
So I remember I followed you when I was up at Tech. I mean, you know, anybody from around the way, especially guys like you and Jay Baker, man. So like, how did Hampton come in the picture, man? How did you end up going to Hampton?
Oh, well, I got put out of Richmond. I got in trouble at Richmond. For violation. Hey, look at the excuse. Watch the quality excuse for violation of team rules. That's what they give, don't they?
Yes, that's what goes across the bottom line.
That's what happened. So so when I had to leave Richmond, let me see, weren't many schools really. I just remember Bobby Collins was on me, man. Bobby Collins was assistant coach. He's a head coach. He just got the Shaw job right now. And he ended up being head coach at Hampton. He coached under Coach Capel at Old Dominion. So he was really aggressive. At first, I was like, I'm not going here, bro. I'm not going. You know, everybody from Hampton don't want to go to Hampton. At most.
Yeah. It's like everybody where I'm at don't want to go to Mason.
It's nothing about whatever. But, you know, it came down to it. And I was like, yeah. And that transition was night and day. Now, being at a white school and a black school, from the professors to the social life to food, it was night and day. And I tell you another thing, when I got there and we played pickup and they brought some of them recruits in, I was like, oh, I picked the wrong school. Because they were good, man.
Yeah.
They were bouncy and really freaking good. And we had a transfer from Syracuse who was top 20 in high school coming out. So LaShawn Howard. I was like, and he wasn't missing. 6'6", legit pro size, shooting guard, small forward. And he was dunking and making everything. I went to the wrong school. I ain't gonna get the ball.
But Marseille, hold on for a second, man. I'm so glad you said that. Me and Shauna talked about this on her spotlight. I have a son and my oldest daughter and my youngest daughter. They all are athletes, play different sports. And I tell them all the time, Virginia Tech was my legacy. That was my journey. And when I went to Tech, they ain't the Tech they are now. We were scrappy. We were trying to fight for a place at the table. But there's talent everywhere. Because when I was going on my recruiting visits, I remember when I went to Hampton and Howard, and I was like, these guys are all American. It's not, there's a misconception because, and again, don't get it twisted. The ACC is the Mecca conference of college basketball, the Big Ten, Maryland or Michigan. Yeah. But don't think that there's not ballers in the
man. You'll find out real quick if you think that.
Yeah, I'm just glad you said that because I tell these youngins up here all the time, listen,
But they will kill you. They will kill you.
Yes. And it's just something that happened, like where it might have been grades, or they got found out late. They were a late bloomer.
Right.
Or they had to stay close to home and take care of their
Yep.
mom. It's not, oh, I can't play at this school. I'm going to Norfolk State because of A, B, and C. It's not because I can't go get at it.
Or it could be size. You know what I mean? That's the main difference I saw because Hampton, I mean, whatever. I guess you would consider the MEAC low major, then the CAA mid major, then obviously Power Fives are the high majors. The main difference you see is size.
Mm-hmm.
Like their fives are 7 foot. They're like Tony. We played Tony and them, man, at Wake. Their 3-man was 6'10", man. Ricky Peral or something. So we were like, all right, we're not going to get any rebounds. And he was wet. So, but I mean, they're good too, though, man. Them guys, they earn it, man. I try not to take away from the high major guys because they earn that, man. Them guys didn't recruit me.
Yeah.
So you earn that.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, and we'll see when we go head to head.
But you know what? Speaking of head to head, one of my best, and I mean this, one of my favorite moments in sports history, I will never forget. You know, they say you never forget where you at when A, B, and C happen. When, you know, the Patriots lost to the Giants when they were 18-0, or when Georgetown lost to Villanova, you know, if you were alive with Ewan and them. And I remember when you guys upset Iowa State.
Yeah.
I was living in my apartment in Fairfax. My wife fell asleep, and I'm watching the tournament. And the only reason I'm watching that game is because you're in it, and my mom is a Hampton University alumni. You know, so I watch when because I'm watching it. I'm checking for you, and I'm cheering for Hampton.
Yeah.
I keep saying I'm getting ready to go to bed because, you know, they put y'all on late. You know.
Yep.
And I was like, ugh. But the next thing you know, man, I screamed so loud when you upset it, and your coach was getting picked up.
Yeah.
How did you look? I know we don't have enough time in this show, man, but just that moment, like, did you guys know? I mean, did it happen? Did y'all get hot? You know, did you feel, you know what? We saw on tape, we felt we could beat them. What were y'all mindset going into that game?
Well, my mindset now is we had a great matchup. But my mindset back then was, you know, we're gonna see him. You know what I mean? like, I didn't know who Jamal Tinsley was, man, until we went over film. And he was big. What was that? Big 10? What's Iowa?
Big 12.
Whatever.
They're Big 12.
12.
Big 12.
Player of the year. Man, he was scoring that ball. He reminded me of Michael Evans. That New York game.
Yeah.
Cross with the spins and all that. And I was like, again, I draw back. And you know it's real when they looking at you like this in the film room. When you got to guard the guy, when they like, in the film room. So, and in the back of my head, I'm like, well, it's not Chuck. I'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And obviously, we game planned around him. They ain't game playing around me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a lot of people helping, but yeah, we were trying to beat them. We thought we could win. Same thing at Richmond, and I'd been at Richmond before and won.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of had I knew that if I told the guys, I was like, look, all we got to do is stay in the game. The crowd is going to turn on them.
And get behind the underdog.
And that crowd stuff is real, man. It was so loud I couldn't hear myself calling the plays. Screaming plays, and I can't hear myself.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted us to win so bad, man. And I think as much as they wanted us to win, they felt they wanted them to lose. So that's pressure, man. Plus, you don't want to lose. It's a NCAA tournament. You what were they, a 2 seed?
2, yeah.
You're supposed to go to the Final Four.
Yeah.
But at least Sweet 16, Elite 8. But, yeah, our mindset was we're going to come on, man. Come on, man. You know what the mindset is every time you go out there.
Oh, I'm never afraid. I posted a stat about how out of 983 players, MJ had a better scoring average against all but one player he faced in his NBA career, and the only player that was Allen Iverson.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, but I wasn't knocking MJ because I'm not about to knock that dude. That guy is the best ever. But what I was telling people on Twitter and Facebook when I posted is where I'm from, we cut from a different cloth. We have never been afraid. You couldn't be. When you went to the gym, Langley, Fort Eustis, or if you went to any place to play pickup, no matter where you at, King Street, Shell World, Park Place, Riverdale, it didn't matter. You were out there with your peers, but you out there against guys that's 27 years old that's getting off a ship at the shipyard.
Yes.
You're going against a guy, he coming out there in Tim's, and he's 37 years old, and he got an ankle bracelet on because he's on probation, and you playing, you're 15.
Let's not forget the burners in the bleachers.
Yes. So where we come from a different cloth. And I saw that in the way you played. I saw that night. Your teammates. And it was for me, man, when you guys won that game, I felt like I won, and I was happy for my. I called my mom. She was watching it. I because it was late where we were, and I said, Mom, you watching this, and you see Marseille, and and I called Tyrone, and we cheered, and we were happy, man. It was great. But what you mentioned in this legacy spotlight on you is that all the stuff you did with Milan and Morocco, with Boo going to Paris, playing with all the household names you played with, what you probably didn't realize then, the same way I did with my journey, is those nights, those early morning and long nights were preparing you for those moments.
Yep. And you don't even realize it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, then I just was like, I'm going to go ball. I'm just going to play ball.
Mm-hmm.
We got the scouting report. We're going to do all that. And we're just going to try to win. That's just, you're afraid. I don't want to say like we were never scared, but when we were scared, they made us go anyway. So you knew you were well versed with fear. You knew fear well, and to go through it. You know what I mean?
No doubt, man. And then what happens next after your career ends in Hampton? I mean, not everyone. I should preface that. A lot of us as athletes, we want to play as long as we can.
Right.
Was it like, I'm going to see what the NBA, I'm going to see what, what's going on overseas. I'm going to coach. What was your mindset at that time, when your career ended at Hampton?
Literally, until I decided not to play, I thought I was going to play. Like, I always thought I was going to go overseas or maybe try to get to the league. But by the end, like I said, my brothers and my dad, they were honest with me. I wasn't no confused kid thinking I'm about to get drafted. They're like, you probably go overseas. You might be a go overseas or whatever. I asked Milan, you think I could be a pro? You might be a get overseas.
Yeah, your folks.
Not when I was little, but time, when it was time. Ain't no reason to sugarcoat nothing. So, but yeah, I always thought I was going to make 6 figures or more overseas, right? So I got an agent. I went out to Vegas. I murdered this camp, bro. Well, I murdered the camp before I even got the agent. He was Delaney Rudd. He played with the Jazz. He backed up John Stockton. But and I murdered this camp. And so he signed me. And they really wanted Tarvis. Remember this big guy, our best player of the year, Tarvis Williams, who hit the shot to beat Iowa State.
Yeah.
But they were real friendly with me. And I recognize game though. But they offered me $26,000, man, to go for 8 months. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Because not that 26, I'm not talking about 26. I wasn't expecting that. I thought I was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I was, now as a grown man, as a 42-year-old man, I'm like, yeah, you go over there, turn that 26 into something. But at that time, I wasn't trying to hear that, man. It hurt me. Felt like it just blindsided me. I couldn't play ball no more. I could play ball, but I couldn't. That stigma, you know how it is to be an athlete, man.
Listen, I know.
I feel like a gladiator, and it's gone. Like this is no more. So, I tried to recreate that feeling other ways, man. I went and got in trouble and did all types of stupid stuff and partied a whole lot. And I worked though. I would keep a job. My dad, your ass gonna get a job. I don't know. You do all that dumb shit. My bad.
No, it's fine.
No. And but I constantly had jobs and stuff, and I just was confused, man. That's why I feel these young cats, and I try to guide them because I know they don't know. What are you gonna do when you grow up? Nobody knows. Some people know. But you know what you're gonna do? You're gonna do what you need to do to feed yourself. That's what you're gonna do for a living. So just bounced around, man. I bounced around from different jobs after that, and just terrible, man. Just the opposite of what playing was. So I walk up in the offices, I'm trashed. They talking trash too. You know how to get in the office.
Mm-hmm.
Man, and you can't, and you like, oh man. So, and I'm trying to work at it. I'm trying to get better. I remember I worked with the NBA for a while, NBA Entertainment. I got a hook up through my brother. Like, got me an entry-level position and worked on that for a while up in Jersey. But that was probably the brightest light right there at that time, that job, because I had to get out of Hampton.
I know what you mean.
After a while, I had to. I was just going crazy. So, but I still wasn't fulfilled. You know, I thought I was doing good. It sounded great, but there was something missing, man. Like that feeling. I want to feel like I did at the Christmas tournament. You know, I want to want to do what I'm doing. You know? So fast forward a whole bunch of years, I just dropped everything. Was like, I'm going to be a trainer. And I was watching Gannon online. And Gannon was inspirational, man. Gannon was that dude.
He still is inspirational.
Well, he still is. Yeah, I don't want to say was.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I mean, he is. He's great to listen to.
That dude, man. And he could hoop too.
Oh, no question.
Oh,
no question.
So, I don't know. I guess I'm jumping around, but.
No, you fine. You became a trainer.
Yeah, I became a trainer, which if you're in it for the money, you go in the wrong business. You gotta wait a little. I was catching the bus, working at Staples. Because, see, I had my child. Like I said, I'm jumping around. His mother's from here.
And just so everybody listening knows, you're in South
Carolina.
South Carolina, yep.
So she's from here. Gets pregnant, moves back here. So that's why I'm in Columbia. And I've been here 12 years. He's 14. I've been here 12 years. So it was kind of like I got to be, I tried to do it the other way. I couldn't. I felt like a piece of crap, man. I'm not around my son. Like, I gotta do better. And I moved back, did some other jobs. But then when I called Gannon was like, all right, I was like, I want to be a trainer, All right, well, I got these camps here, and here. You pick the closest one and come work your camp. And man, I'm driving a hoopty, boy. Like, my grandfather left it for me, but it worked.
Them old cars last, man.
Yes, they do. And he was a mechanic, so it got me. Man, I drove that thing 9 hours to Orlando, Florida. But I'll say this. Gannon sent me videos of him, like he sent me a bunch of DVDs and a book that said, learn this. So I did the workouts every day. That was my job. I was living with my son's grandfather at the time. You know how lame that is? We weren't even together. Like, imagine what it looked like. Imagine how I was mentally. Imagine what I was hearing. So I was desperate. That's what Brett always says. Hoops in life was started out of desperation. He says it every time. But so I was desperate, man. I just took a chance, but I did that work like I did the work I should have done in college. So I still had that in the back of my head. I didn't meet my potential because I didn't work out in college, bro. All that stuff Milan showed me in high school, I ain't do it in college. I partied. So I did it this time, though. I worked out hard. Like, I knew I was ready when I felt like I was about to die or pass out. I came in love with that. Like, that ain't hard enough. That ain't hard enough. Like, oh, I'm dizzy. All right, yeah. Yeah. And then learn I mean, I could hoop, but I was just saying. I remember the first time Gainer saw me, he said, "Man, you in better shape than when you played." So I guess I did that for like 2 months maybe before the camp came up. The closest one was in Orlando. Gainer was everywhere. So I just drove there, killed the camp, you know, high energy, or not killed it, but did well enough that Gainer offered me like one of his top spots at dinner later. And I worked under him for like a year and a half. See, I was trained to be a trainer.
Mm-hmm.
I worked under him. I turned in 10% of my money, 30% of the gigs that he got me. I kept a law. Like, and then, you know, from there, you grow. And I was like, all right, time to go on your own. You know. So that's
What's the name of your training company again?
Hoops and Life basketball. So Hoops and Life. I don't.
You know, when you know, for several reasons, obviously, I can't wait. And I'm sure you agree that COVID, they contained it and there's a vaccine. Because one of my favorite things I would do throughout the week, there are certain people I check for every day when I log on, and you were one of them because your videos. I would no. I'm a coach, and I have a son, so I don't pretend to be you again, or my man Andre Spade up here, but I still. And I would take some of your quotes, but I would give you credit. I want no copyright infringement. I say, I got this from my guy, Marseilles Brown. Because I would forward this stuff to my wife and my son and even my daughter, because your videos, when you pause and teach your kids, are very insightful. And I just want everyone to make sure they check for you after they see this interview if they haven't checked for you. Because if you have a son or a daughter that wants to get into this game or get better, you need to talk and check and look at Marseilles Brown, because it's not just about basketball. And I've seen the results. Just briefly talk about some of the players that you've trained over the last several years, because I know you'll have them on, they'll come back and they train and help you with the other kids. I watch all your stuff, man.
Yeah, you do watch.
Yeah.
You know that I feed kids to kids.
Mm-hmm.
I feed them to them. When they think they're really good, all right, play them. That's what I call it. Time feeding time. But talk about some of the, I guess, more well-known guys, huh?
Yeah, whoever you know, because it's
I mean, the best, top of the. Yeah. Milan really coached this kid and worked him up, but he's a pro. Jarrell Brantley plays with the Jazz, two-way player.
Two-way player, yeah.
Came out of College of Charleston. Milan was at Charleston. That was Milan's baby. But I worked with him a little bit. But because it's the Jazz, I'm going to mention the pro guys. PJ Dozier, who's with the Denver Nuggets, two-way, did really good this year. We made the All-Star team in the G League. I think Jarrell made it this year too. They can keep putting my babies in the G League if you want to. They're gonna kill the G League, man. Got two more. Wait, two. Remember this conversation? Got two more coming this year. But anyway, Bryce Johnson.
Who was that?
Remember Bryce Johnson played at North Carolina?
Yes, I was going to say, do you have a UNC guy? I was about to say the UNC.
I worked with him. Oh, yeah, I'm going down. I got a couple more.
Okay.
So he played with the Chris Paul and them, Blake Griffin, Clippers. And Seventh Woods, you know, the phenom.
Mm-hmm.
Seventh, man, that buzz right there was crazy. But he actually left North Carolina. He's at South Carolina right now.
Yeah.
For his senior year. Mm-hmm. Tevin Mack, who just was at I mean, these are all these guys. Most of these guys were top 50s coming out of high school. So, and there's some girls, man.
I'm glad you got girls, because girls can go too.
I work with this one girl, and she worked. It's not just me. They work with other people, even the ones I just named. It's not just me. But one girl, man, she dunks in games, bro. I know you've seen it if you've been on my page.
Yeah,
she's great doing that, man. She got like 6 dunks this year.
Yeah.
And then so she's top 15, top 20, and then there's another top 15, top 20, this 9th grader. Oh, she's different, bro. You've seen her though, probably on social media.
Well, my son keeps me. I'm on all this stuff, but he keeps up with Ball Is Life, Slam Magazine, and there's so many things. He said he'll come downstairs and show. Or he'll text me or give me. I'm sure I've seen him. because he's
Oh
about
man,
all that.
these girls they're about to change. They're gonna be. You're gonna see them soon.
Yeah.
On TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the USA team or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. It's just so much talent down here, man.
Well, it's good because I've known that because of playing college and just guys I played with, and they would tell me the same thing. But it's all it takes is what Boo did at Hampton, is to get someone to facilitate that talent in the right direction and expose it in the right way. You know, that's what needs to happen, and that's what you've been doing. I do got a funny. Well, you know I talked to you, and I see some of your videos. You're a great father. You love your son. Does your son, because I've shared this to you with my son and my two daughters, you know, they starting to realize that I was halfway decent or whatever. Does your son know about how you were that dude before you retired and went on to training? Like, does he know about the video that if we had internet back then would have been trending? It would have probably got 9 million hits. When I was home from Virginia Tech. Me and the crew, me, Joe Casuccio, Tyrone Time, everybody, because everybody back then in the 90s would come home around the same time in the summer, and there was the Pro-Am games with different things going on. Everybody would get together and hoop and meet up at the mall. And that one particular weekend I was home, I think it was around the 4th of July. It was during the summer, I know that. And you were hooping at HU, and it was you and a lot of guys that were, you know, college and pro, and you put the move. I can't even describe it, but it was the crossover behind you. It was one of them little and one skip them out.
Yeah, called the neck dribble.
And
bro, I made that, man.
You made it up?
I mean, I'm not saying other people didn't do it, like, and make it up too, but I didn't see somebody do that and then say, do it. Like I did. I was showing my mom. I was like, people in my neighborhood to this day were like, man, I remember you told us you were going to do it. Or not you. I didn't say I was going to do it, but they saw me doing it.
The move was crazy. The move was crazy because what I remember is packed, and it was just like it wasn't planned. You could tell when somebody is backing somebody out, they're going to try something.
Right.
It's so quick.
Yeah.
And I remember, you know, and this again, our culture, we hit each other when, you know, I remember getting hit. And you and Sweet Pea, the legend, God rest his soul, Sweet Pea would have got up and dabbed you. People were running on the court like Def Comedy Jam.
Yes.
And I mean, does your son?
I got the news clip.
Yo, does your son know about? Yo, my dad used to give it to people.
Yeah, he knows.
Okay, good.
I showed him. I don't know. Yeah, he knows, but he's seen it though, because he's seen the video too. He's seen that before, but. He's been in the gym with me the whole time. Since he was 4, his babysitter was the other rim. Mm-hmm. When I told you I was training doing the videos with Gannon, he was right there going, yeah, Daddy, you can do it good, Daddy. Do it, Daddy. So he saw it, and he would watch me, kind of like I watch Milan. And when I'm playing in the gym, and you know I'm not missing, or if I'm playing well, or if I'm playing bad. So he definitely knew that I could play the game pretty good. I mean, for what he had seen. And then when I'm posting or looking at some old tape, come look at this. You know, here we go. Stuff like that.
So yeah. I just have a few more questions for you, Marseille, but like this being one of them, your son, is different as for us fathers who've been to where they're trying to go. The key thing I've taught my son and my daughters and even kids I've coached and I interact with and I'm doing counseling and mentoring is to, you know, be a good listener and pay attention to successful people. Is he on that same trajectory as you in Morocco and Milan and that family legacy? Does he understand? Is he willing to risk it the right way? And do you see that for him? I'm not saying the same path you set, but does he want that same goal? And do you see it happening for him?
Yes, I'd say he wants it because I constantly ask him, you know, because if you want it, then you need to come out here and do this. Mm-hmm. And I tell him, like my father told me, look, do you want to be really good? I say, yes. He said, then you're going to have to listen. You're going to have to do this stuff. He said, I'll leave you alone. I'll never forget. He told me. And I tell him, Makai, the same thing. That's my son's name, Makai. if you don't want to do this, then I'll leave you alone. We can focus on something else. Every time he says yes. Every time you're on YouTube, he's looking at some basketball stuff. He keep a basketball in his hand. Mm-hmm. So I think it's different because I had two older brothers playing in the backyard, beating me up the whole time. Mm-hmm. But it's similar too because he's following me, mm-hmm. like I was following them. So, and yes, he's really skilled, man. He's really skilled, real good IQ, and I can see him playing at the next level.
Good.
Yep.
Good, man. We'll keep doing your thing. My last question or point I'll let you make is I ask all my guests that come on, man. This is your chance if you want to just give some feedback to fathers, coaches, young players that might see this on my YouTube page. If they trying to get to where you went, what life lessons so far have you learned through the game of basketball, through your mistakes and poor choices? And how do you translate that into feedback for people that see this video? What lasting things do you want them to know about your life? And what have you learned so far in your life?
Well, I've learned, man, you gotta trust. I'm glad you asked me that. You gotta trust your gut, bro. At the end of the day, you in here by yourself. I hate this. You're in it by yourself. So you've got to do what you really want to do. And nobody's more honest than yourself. You know if you're working as hard as you can. You know if you did something wrong. You know if you need to fix it. You know if you're being lazy. So listen to your gut is what I tell the youngsters. I don't want to tell no adults that. So, but I guess I'm old enough that adults are still youngsters to me now. But yeah, trust your gut. Your gut's never wrong. It's never wrong, man. I'd say that. And play the game. Meaning, like, do your best to get your degrees. You know what I mean? You're there working. So get something out of it. They ain't gonna give you any money. So get your degree. Play the game. You don't have to always be so prideful with your coach. You don't always have to say something crazy. Play the game. Do it just like they do it. You know what I mean? It's a business at the college level, man. They are not playing. They will get another person that look just like you if they want to. So just play the game. Do as much right as you can. And learn from the wrongs, correct the wrongs.
Well said, man. Well, again, man, Vicktory Life, thanks you for popping on, man. It's a blessing to have you on. I know you're a busy man, so your time is precious, like, just giving us these wise words, and I appreciate you sharing your insight. It's an honor to have you on, man. Again, if I don't tell you, I know I've told you and Brett and all the guys that came behind me. I'm proud of you, man. I love what you're doing for the community and the kids you are mentoring and coaching are benefiting beyond the court, man. So, Marseille, I salute you. I salute your legacy, and I thank you for everything. And to my people watching this, like I always say, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, make sure you leave a positive impact and a great legacy, man. Thank you, guys.
All right. Take care, bro.